Hey, what's going on, you guys? I had another good question by a guy named Top Keck. The comment reads a little something like this, and Mr. Cicero, if you don't mind reading it off.
Yes, sir. So what do you do if somebody is rushing you in a fight just throwing haymakers? In training, no one does this because it's not what it's taught, but in a street fight, most people wouldn't know how to fight and just rush in. What's the most effective way to counter these haymakers?
So you asked me this question, and I gotta say, it's a really good question because a lot of scenarios can happen in this situation. But it's not a, cage fight. It's a street fight. The person's untrained. So let's imagine that the person's training, all right, this guy or girl, whoever it is, the most training that they have is watching UFC fight videos or just like fights in general. So that's what they think. All right. So mentally, they're already just going to be natural headhunters as it is. So they're just aiming for the head. And the next thing you asked is, what's the most effective counter for this? And I'll give you my honest opinion, and that is just to cover up. All right? Just to cover up. The first strike is probably gonna land. It's probably gonna land hard enough to where it kind of knocks you off balance, and you're gonna probably lose some sort of stability in the first hit. Where you see it come in, you block, and you get hit. Just stay right there, be calm and breathe. You might get hit again, but at least it's not gonna hit the jaw. All right, and I say headhunters because if your guard is up this high and they actually hit you in the body, they're gonna do some damage, my man. Like haymakers, whether you're trained or untrained, a UFC fighter or not a UFC fighter, you get hit with one of those by anybody, even a little baby, is gonna do some damage on you, especially when it's unexpected. So just be aware of that. All right. That being said, the next option after that, depending on the environment you're in. So let's say that, whether you have space to back up, move. Move in the stance, all right? You got to create that space so that way they miss. A person who's throwing haymakers will not last too long if that's all they're doing. It takes a whole lot of energy. It takes a whole lot more energy if they miss, all right? If they miss, that's a good thing because it's going to exhaust them a little faster. So don't stand there and weather the storm for too long. You just want to make sure you can get out of there, all right? Movement, and I dare say, don't drop those hands. If you can find an exit and you're calm and you're breathing and you see that haymaker is coming and you can duck and run out of there, feel free to do that. All right, now this is a good question because there's a lot of scenarios that can happen. Now for the person who's a little more courageous and brave and you can do this, step in with the stance. Get in close that space, grab them so that way you nullify the haymaker. But you know what? That's a whole nother story. But there's a lot of answers to this, and I appreciate you for asking. If you still have questions about this, please feel free to ask, and I can make a video, where someone's throwing haymakers at me. All right? If you guys have opinions on this, I'd love for you to ask. Thank you again for sharing your thoughts and questions, and have a good one, man.